This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 44. Excuse me. Of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Yo, okay, so
I had to get that out there.
So we waited around for almost an hour while the computer was updating, and then it was acting funny, so we had to reboot it. And all that time, you pick starting the podcast to start burping.
That's a good point. Very good point. My body. Well, because a minute ago, before we went on the air, I had to clear my throat 7 different times because
that's true.
Once I hit the record button, my nose plugged right up and my throat clenched up, and right. I'm just like, apparently I forget how to speak the English language. So
it's okay, man. It's okay.
But yeah, I think I learned something new today. When you think your laptop needs to restart, don't restart it. Because the computer did not tell me there were Windows updates that had to be installed.
There was like 23 of them, right?
If it said, hey, look, we got to install these updates. Do you want to do it now or later? I would have said, do it later.
Right.
Because that takes a long time.
Exactly.
So I restart the computer, and I'm like, oh, yeah, the podcast will be ready when Perez gets here. He'll be happy to go because he's got to work today, so we'll have donuts while we podcast.
Right.
And then he got here, and it took 45 more minutes to get the computer to work.
Exactly. And I was late, so...
We've already eaten the donuts.
Yes.
We've already partially digested the donuts.
Pretty much.
I drank a quarter of a bottle of orange juice right now, like a handle of orange juice.
Yes, you have.
It's delicious, though.
You just need the vodka to mix it in.
Oh, I do have the vodka in the freezer. I'll tell you what, when I drank the orange juice, it was almost weird to me to not have the vodka taste? With the vodka aftertaste.
Nice.
Because if you have Tropicana orange juice, or even like the best orange juice for screwdrivers is vitamin D, Wegmans vitamin D orange juice. I think it's vitamin D.
I have no idea.
It's the orange juice at Wegmans with the blue cap.
Okay.
It's like a 2-liter gallon of...
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
First off, it's a gallon. It's not a 2-liter gallon. It's a gallon. I'm a moron. I failed math. Don't mind me.
I was going to say something about that, but I figured you had it covered.
A gallon of orange juice with the blue top, because you drink the orange juice and it's a little tangy, but then you don't get the vodka aftertaste till you swallow.
And to you people who don't know what Wegmans is in podcast land, Wegmans is probably the best shopping market, in the nation, in the world,
in the eastern East Coast area. Yeah, because it's in Boston, it's in Virginia.
Yes,
I think maybe Pennsylvania and Maryland. Obviously, there's a ton in New York.
So, many moons ago, when I moved to Orlando, in the first couple of weeks, I came to miss Wegmans something fierce.
Yeah.
Because Publix at the time sucked. Albertsons was like their kind of wannabe Wegmans, but they sucked too.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, I miss my friends and stuff, but man, I really miss Wegmans.
The cool thing about Wegmans too, lots of good-looking females work at Wegmans.
Lots of good-looking females hang at Wegmans too.
That's true.
So listen,
that's true story.
When I was bouncing, I used to enjoy walking around Wegmans at about 2:30 just to kind of unwind. And there was a lot of females from the clubs that would be just walking around Wegmans looking to buy some snacks. So it was always nice to walk around and be like, "Hey, I kicked you out of the club tonight. Like, what's up?"
Well, hey, if you listen here, I took a picture and tweeted it at BLTD Podcast on Twitter. But listen, we have a fancy cardstock. It's like I feel like it's a script. When we do it on cardstock, it's like a script.
Right.
We have a script for the podcast. We are like professional wrestling. We are predetermined. The action is real. The outcome is predetermined. Bang bang. That's a shoot. I guess. I've always wanted to say that on the air, so I guess 44 episodes in. I probably have said it before.
Probably.
But I'm acknowledging the fact that I said it now.
Speaking of wrestling, Lucha Underground this Wednesday was off the hook again.
By the way, you want to talk about off the hook wrestling, okay? Did you see NXT this week? What happened?
I don't have WWE Network, so
you might want to get it. I might get WWE Network to watch NXT. I'll tell you what, dude. Listen.
I've heard that, but I've watched some of it, and Lucha Underground is on like a whole other level.
Kevin Owens
was it Samoa Joe there?
Was in the main event, and then Samoa Joe showed up.
Very cool. I've always liked Samoa Joe.
They faced off in a WWE ring, and
All hell
I
broke
was
loose?
like, it was unbelievable. Because just the fact that Samoa Joe is a WWE wrestler, and the fact that his name is still Samoa Joe, because apparently when he came to the Fed, Vince McMahon, naturally, because Vince McMahon's a man of money, wants to change the name to make more money off the guy.
Right.
And apparently Triple H stood up and said, no, we're not changing his name.
Everyone knows who Samoa Joe
Samoa
is.
Joe's going to be Samoa Joe. Like, yeah, with Kevin Steen, you can change his name to Kevin Owens, mostly because it works out, because it's KO.
Yeah.
It's it just works out.
Yeah.
But Samoa Joe.
It's Samoa Joe. You can't change his name.
And not to mention, if you change his name, fans are still probably going to call him Samoa Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, how often now do you hear people call Kevin Owens Kevin Steen?
Not very often.
Not very often at all.
No. That's funny.
They've done a good job. They with the random name generator they have in NXT, they've done a good job.
Right.
Because there was a while where they were coming up with some stupid-ass names.
True.
Where it was like, I'm Ron the Garden Hose. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to believe you. You're real scary.
Right.
But now you've got guys like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor. I mean, those are some...
Right.
Just to name two guys. I mean, those are some fun names. They seem very just kind of like... I don't know. There's just something about it where it's like you get a bad guy that's Finn Balor. If he's a bad guy, it's like... That just sounds like an evil
guy's name.
An evil movie character.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, he comes out to the ring all painted and face paint and body paint, which is wicked too.
Nice. Maybe I'll check it out.
I haven't, for all the stuff I'm talking about, I've never watched NXT. I just see the stuff on Twitter that Cage Side Seats tweets about. And I'm like, you know what? This looks like they had a main event. A women's match was the main event, and apparently it tore the place down.
Really?
Like from what I'm reading from, again, Cage Side Seats, is that Vince McMahon doesn't want female wrestling to be any more than like two chicks with huge tits just rolling around smacking each other in their
Which I can
underwear.
understand from Vince's point.
Which has been Vince McMahon since Vince McMahon was born. But Stephanie and Triple H, obviously with their power in the company now, they want to make women's wrestling actually a thing.
And yeah, I think at this point you kind of have to. There's a lot of really good female wrestlers out there at this point.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can still be a good-looking chick, but if you can put on a show and wrestle just as good, if not better, than some of the guys.
Hi, Mickey James and AJ Lee.
Sign me up, seriously.
Right.
Like, I want to see that match because I heard it was amazing.
But I don't know. I don't know if I want to pay $9.99 a month just to watch NXT when I can watch Lucha Underground for free.
You could probably actually find NXT on the internet and watch it for free.
Probably. And Lucha Underground is at this point head and tails above most wrestling out there that I'm seeing.
Did you hear the rumors that TNA got canceled by Destination America?
That would suck because they just went to Destination America.
There's some rumors going around that they got canceled.
That's too bad because some of the TNA stuff's not horrible.
Well, TNA, I think the problem is they try too hard to be the Fed,
right?
While denying the fact that they're trying to be like the Fed. So it's like they're it's counterproduction against themselves. Yeah. Like, we're not trying to be the WWE, but we're trying to be the WWE.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I don't know. I don't really. There's not very many times when I watch TNA either. So.
I just wish that we got Bubba Ray Dudley last year at the Royal Rumble. I really wish we could get like Bubba Ray and Devon back for like one tag match.
That'd be awesome.
Just to 3D someone through a table.
Oh, that'd be awesome. It'd be great.
I know.
The Dudley Boys are probably one of my all-time favorite tag team matches, like tag teams ever.
Tag team wrestling got me hooked. As a kid with Edge Christian, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy,
right?
The Dudley Boys. I mean, that was
Me and Hobie back in the day went to an ECW event here in Rochester, and the crowd was always kind of rowdy at an ECW event, and some dude in the back was kind of a big dude, got drunk and was like, "This ish is fake," and jumped the barrier and rushed Bubba Ray.
That's probably a bad idea.
It was a very bad idea because they legit beat the junk out of this dude before security could even show up. Like, they legit stopped this dude. And me and Hobie were sitting there like, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen. Like, this is awesome. And then you start thinking, like, is this storyline?
Is
like,
this a work? Or
is this a work?
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. This dude legit got lumped up by the Dudley Boys. And I was like, yeah, that was not a good idea.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's beyond awesome. I guess the one last thing before we move to the news. I know it probably won't happen because Kurt Angle's got some skeletons in his closet and he's kind of past his prime. But the one thing,
kind of.
Well, you can still wrestle, but it's not as good as it was by any stretch of the imagination. It was crazy because I saw the thing about it was on Ric Flair's podcast because we've got everybody's got a podcast,
right?
For God's sake, we have a podcast. But apparently on Ric Flair's podcast,
thank you to Hobie for starting the whole podcast craze.
Thanks for that one. Apparently, bang bang. Apparently, Kurt Angle dropped a kind of a bombshell. Apparently, he was talking to Ric Flair,
and he was like, "I'm gay."
Well, Ric Flair was the original person that he asked when he was leaving, when he was going to consider professional wrestling. He said, "Do I go to WCW or do I go to WWE?" At that point, Ric Flair was the man in WCW.
Right.
He said, "Go to WWE." And
really?
That's why Kurt Angle went to WWE.
That's interesting.
Yeah, which is mind blowing. But the one thing I want, because it was a highlight of my childhood, I want to see Kurt Angle's music go off, and I want to see him walk down the ramp, WWE ring, one more time with that music, with the crowd chanting, "You suck" to it.
That'd be pretty good.
That was a smaller piece of the Attitude Era puzzle, but.
Yes, that was pretty awesome.
That was, to me, that was.
I will say this: like Kurt Angle was actually a really funny character.
Yeah.
With the WWE, like the WWE, he made him do some ridiculous stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And he did it very well.
Well, if you watch wrestling now, how it's become like a soap opera, and I mean it's and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. I mean, it's a story. You go watch it, and if you get a good character, like with CM Punk, for instance, the reason I was so invested in him is because it was not only he's a good wrestler, but he can tell such a good story.
Right.
If you give me a good story, I'll watch wrestling any day. But when you have like the Attitude Era, you really miss it because you watch, like, you go on YouTube and you look up the video of the time Stone Cold Steve Austin beat the crap out of Booker T in a supermarket.
Right.
That's amazing.
Right.
That's amazing.
I like when Stone Cold used to drive. When he drove the milk truck to the ring and started spraying. He drove
a monster truck, a beer truck.
Yeah, when he started spraying everyone with the milk, like you expect to get sprayed with the beer.
Yeah,
you expect that from Steve Austin, but he came in a milk truck and started spraying everyone with milk. It was hilarious.
I love her. He drove a Zamboni to the ring.
Yep.
I'm just trying to remember all the good times. Maybe I'll have to get WWE Network now. Just go back and watch wrestling from like the start of the Attitude Era to the end of the Attitude Era.
Chavo Guerrero is involved with Lucha right now.
Yeah,
and it's cool seeing Chavo still doing his thing. But every time I see Chavo, I think of Eddie.
Yeah,
and I ain't going to lie to you, dude. When Eddie passed away, I actually cried.
Yeah,
like I shed some tears when Eddie passed away. He was probably one of my all-time favorites ever.
Yeah.
And he could tell a story. Like, he could get you involved in the storyline. He could bring you in. You know what I'm saying?
Remember when Eddie used to come to the ring in that lowrider?
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
Amazing.
It was awesome. Rest in peace, Eddie.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think of anything else. I was a big fan of Shane Helms when I was a kid. Probably because he was a superhero guy.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
That's something I want to meet him.
Dude, I used to love the hurricane.
I know he's like in Syracuse all the time, wrestling for feds around the area. But I would love to meet him because that was one of my as a kid. Like I have it somewhere. I believe I still hope I do the WWE magazine or WWF at the time. Maybe I think it was WWE at the time. I don't remember. Either way, close enough. Where he was, they did a story on him where he was like the newspaper guy, and he was over his shirt, and he had the hurricane suit on. Like I've always wanted to get that signed by him. I can't remember if I have it though. I'll have to check and see somewhere. But
that's when they let people have actual gimmicks, and gimmicks were fun. You know what I'm saying? But now you can't have a gimmick.
Well, maybe once Vince gives the reins completely over to Triple H and Stephanie, we might see
some of it. They got the guy right now. I don't know what his name is, but it's the guy that Gravity forgot. Something like that.
Neville,
that's it.
Yeah. There's a lot of, the thing is, there's a lot of really good characters in NXT that once they all find their own niche in the market, if you will, once they come up to the WWE, it's going to be hard to sit there and say like, well, John Cena always has to be the main event now.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be that way because there's going to be. I feel like for a long time the reason Cena was always in the main event is because there weren't guys like Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, to name a few. But now that you have those guys, you can run a decent storyline.
Excuse me.
You're okay. Run a decent storyline with those guys.
I can't believe we just had a whole segment on wrestling. We never really.
It's funny because it was bound to happen at some point in time.
We never really talked wrestling. I feel like John should be here, or Mark House.
Well, John's probably going to yell at us for not inviting him to the wrestling segment, because now we're not going to talk wrestling again for probably another 44 shows.
Probably. It was completely impromptu. We had no idea this was going to happen.
That's the best way podcast stuff happens.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure people will enjoy that segment a lot.
Exactly. And you know what? I will say this. Being involved in wrestling for the last 12, 13 years, I did meet some really cool people.
Yeah.
And it was cool meeting some of these WWE Hall of Famers and some of the WWE people who are not in the Hall of Fame who came through that we brought in at like NEW or some of the other places that I've wrestled at. Well, not wrestled, but managed my wrestlers at, so to speak. And some of the dudes that we've met are really cool. Like, I got to meet Raven.
Yeah.
And Raven was always one of my favorite characters at ECW.
The dude came out to the ring with a shopping cart all the time.
All the time.
Just with weapons.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's a life goal of mine. Just walk around with a shopping cart full of weapons. You can beat the crap out of people.
Right, exactly. And, you know, I had heard that Raven was a dick, for a lack of a better term. But I did a show with Raven, and I sat there for like an hour just chatting with him, and Raven was crazy cool. Crazy cool.
I feel like it's wrestlers are just like the same as any other professional person or athlete. If you don't geek out around them, they're fine. Like, if you treat them like a dude, like if you have a conversation just like this, you can sit there and talk to anybody you want for as long as you want to. Because for them, I'm sure it's a break from it, because they get so many people that come up to them and go, "Oh my God, you're so and so. Oh my God, I remember like December '96 when you did this crazy like triple backflipping through a burning table." And it's like, "Yeah, cool, thanks, man." But if you're just like, "Hey, what's up?" and then they open up.
It was very difficult not to geek out around Tito Santana and Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Yeah,
that was really cool. And the funny part was, like, I had just given my money to my wife in case she wanted some refreshments at the show. And Jimmy Superfly Snuka was like, "Brother, would you buy this Superfly a beer?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll be right back." So I go to my wife, and I'm like, "Sweetie, I need some of that money back." She was like, "But you just gave it to me." I was like, "Yes, and now I'm buying Jimmy Superfly Snuka a beer. So I need some of my money back."
Very thoughtful of you.
Yeah, well, you know. It was Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
That was a good segment. That was a good pre-show.
Yes, I agree.
Impromptu pre-show, but
let's get to the news. I got to work today, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're doing work right now.
Yes, we are. But I'm not getting paid for this.
Well,
I have used the Amazon link, by the way.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when you go on the Gear Network site or some of our other sites, please use the Amazon link.
Yeah, use the Amazon link or the Fathead link or the Score Big link or the the FanDuel Fathead Score Big Amazon. All those.
All of those. Use the links.
So Perez can get paid and hang out with me longer.
Yeah, that's it right there. Here's what I know. I know that every week I bring the donuts.
Yeah. Well, that's because I don't know. Because you're good people. I was gonna try to make something up, but I can't.
It's all good.
Moving over to starting off, I should say, not moving over. We're starting.
Welcome to episode 44.
We're moving over to the news you need to know. Starting off with college football.
College football.
Notre Dame quarterback Everett Golson transfers to Florida State, hoping to improve his draft stock. If they mold an offense around him at Florida State, maybe. But
I used to know a dude named Everett. He was a D.
You ever see the Everett College commercials? The mock one, the mock Everett College commercial.
No,
dude, I gotta show you. I gotta show you the commercial break.
Okay.
Texas A&M quarterback Kenny Hill. What was his nickname? Kenny Trill or something.
Yes.
He transferred to TCU. He'll sit out next year, but have 2 years of eligibility left. He lost his job after being ineffective on the field. And then a couple people took over, played better than him. And then he had some off the field issues. And then they had a star quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, commit to Texas A&M. He kind of realized, well, my time's up here, and goes to TCU.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Kenny Hill, but I do know Benny Hill was hilarious.
Kenny Hill was good when he was playing, but then all of a sudden it was like overnight he just forgot how to play football.
Yes, but Benny Hill was great.
Benny Hill was great. But maybe defenses figured him out, and he didn't make the right adjustments.
I could never understood how Benny Hill got away with the stuff that they got away with. I mean,
that we're going two different directions right now.
We are completely in two different directions. But nowadays on regular TV, you get crapped on if you show even slightly like a cheek of a booty. Yeah. But like Benny Hill show, dude, there was like full on breasts and everything, and people loved it. And I'm gonna come out yakety sax was awesome also, but so Benny Hill was a lot cooler than Kenny Hill. That's all I'm saying.
Kenny Trill, Kenny Trill.
Trill, my
Trill,
bad.
Kenny Hill. Moving over to PGA now, Rory McIlroy last weekend wins the Wells Fargo Championship. It's important. What are you going to say?
No, go ahead.
It was important because it's McIlroy's 11th career win. Doesn't seem like a lot, but he passes Gary Player for the most PGA wins by an international player before age 30.
And then he went this weekend and missed the cut by like 5 strokes. Good job, Rory.
Best golfer in the world right now, obviously.
Rory, if you ever listen to this, can you give me a call and let me know why you dumped Caroline Wozniacki?
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Because that doesn't make any sense to me.
Moving over to horse racing now, American Pharoah wins the Preakness Stakes by a lot in a mud race. It was amazing. I mean, the race itself was crazy to watch. American Pharoah will look to become the first Triple Crown winner since affirmed in 1978. The Belmont Stakes take place next Saturday, June 6th.
I feel like we've had so many horses that were supposed to win the Triple Crown the last several years, and none of them have produced.
Every time you get someone that goes to the Belmont Stakes that is ready to win the Triple Crown, they just don't show up, and I don't know why. I think I know why, because there's a lot of horses out there that will sit out the Derby or sit out the
they're fresh.
Well, they'll be fresh. Yeah, they'll kind of ringer. They'll be the ringer.
Exactly.
They'll say, okay, yeah, we're a really good horse. We're going to come in and win the race. That's probably what will end up happening. Because I remember
we'll find out. This horse has been leaving people in the dust.
Last time we had a very good horse that was supposed to win, a lot of people complained after the race and said, maybe you should have to compete in all 3 races.
All 3 of them, absolutely.
That would make it fair. But then again, you probably would get a lot more Triple Crown winners. And horse racing, at this point, probably doesn't want the Triple Crown to be won solely because once it's won, the mystique is gone for a while. Because you don't, 1978, that's a long time ago.
Exactly.
Moving over to the UFC now.
I was 5.
Sorry about saying it was really old then.
It's all good, man.
UFC. Dana White confirms this weekend that former light heavyweight champion John Bones Jones will automatically get his title rematch upon returning to the UFC. Is that fair or is that foul, do you think?
No, I think that's fair.
I think it's absolutely fair.
You stripped him because of his issues. You got to give him the chance to win it back. He shouldn't have to climb through the ranks because he's already proven that he can beat everybody.
Not to mention, it's going to be very, very difficult. Because you have to remember, too, commissions have to say, okay, you can fight.
Take a look to see how much battery life I have left.
Yeah, buddy. That
would be 69% to people who couldn't see my phone.
Or judge the reaction.
Yes.
You have to go to the commission and you have to say, okay, guy A is going to fight guy B, and they go, okay, that's fine. You're telling me that if John Jones goes to fight a guy who's maybe like 4-0, like just coming up, like maybe you've got to fight your way through the ranks. He's 15th in the division. You got to beat him to move up. You're telling me that the commission would say, yeah, let's watch this slaughter happen because John Jones is going to turn this guy into shredded meat in the octagon. That's not going to happen.
No.
Plus, again, how does the saying go, Perez? Money talks?
Yes. And
that's a lot of money that's going to be thrown around at that pay-per-view.
It's a true story.
And not to mention, there's some strong rumors that maybe sometime in the next year or so, New York State could be legalizing MMA now that all the shady people that don't like MMA are out and in jail because they are terrible people. Different people are in charge now. I'm not into politics a lot, but I know that a lot of politicians are corrupt. But New York State has a lot of them. Long story short, if MMA becomes legal, they really want to do a John Jones fight at Madison Square Garden.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe, just maybe, if things work out the way they may, John Jones comes back to the UFC at Madison Square Garden for the light heavyweight championship. One can dream, right?
If that happens, I would almost say it was scripted. But we all know this is not the WWE.
Or the podcast. I mean, the podcast is scripted too.
That's true, but it's scripted in a completely different way.
I just do that so I know I can sound smart.
Well, we also have to have some sort of guideline here, some sort of
that's
outline to go with.
I've gotten good at is that kind of I don't tell you what we're talking about. So even if you want to just go crazy on a rant, I can just be like, okay, let's move on to this now.
Right, it's a good thing.
As much as I'm a host, I'm kind of a mediator to make the.
As much as I'm a guest host, I'm kind of the guy who goes off and does the rants.
I'm just trying to keep the train on the tracks.
I understand that.
It's a good 1-2 punch.
Yes, it is.
One last thing before we move on. UFC announces that MMA legend Bas Rutten will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in July. Now,
Bas Rutten was a bad man.
He's 2-0 in his UFC career. His last fight, he won the UFC heavyweight championship, and then he gave up the title to move to light heavyweight, and then got hurt in training, and then retired. But he is the definition of superstar.
Yes.
In the world of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
If you have never seen it, go to YouTube and type in Bas Rutten, BASRUTTEN, self-defense. It's a 6.5 minute or 6 minute and 48 second video, I think it is. And it is some of the funniest stuff you will ever see, because this man will show you how to devastate someone else on the streets if someone ever tries to screw with you. My favorite line is when he's sitting there and shows you how to break a person's leg, and he just looks at the guy and goes, "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm going to have to break your leg." And it's again, if it's not something you've seen, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
I ever tell you the story about the time I beat up that dude while eating a cheeseburger?
I think so.
Okay.
Tell the podcast.
No, I won't. It's all good.
I'll see you tell the podcast if you want to.
It's cool.
Moving over to indie racing.
It was hilarious, though.
It sounds like, I think you did tell me, because I think we were at a different location and you were talking about it. And I was laughing my ass off. But moving over to indie racing now. This weekend, the Indianapolis 500, a Memorial Day weekend staple. But practice, bad stuff has been happening. They changed the aero packages. Cars are going faster. Cars are flipping over.
Right.
We almost had a driver die a couple days ago. James Hinchcliffe reportedly hit the wall, quote, at least 228 miles an hour.
It's kind of fast to hit the wall.
That's not even the worst part. Excuse me. The force of impact reportedly measured 125 Gs.
Jeez.
The right front suspension failed, so he couldn't turn the car. And this is all according to Racer.com, so thank you to them for the information. One of the suspension wishbones penetrated the safety cell, entered and exited his right leg, entered his upper left thigh, and stopped in his pelvic region. The track officials said he almost died right there. Like, they acted almost immediately. They said it was a trauma 5 or whatever, which is really, really bad. Like, they're expecting fatalities. Nose itches for some reason. And they actually, if I'm not mistaken, they cut him out of the car with the wishbone still in his body, and then took him to the hospital like that, stabilized him in the thing.
Right.
He's gonna be okay. But they said he almost bled out on the track.
That's crazy, man.
And that's been like not that. I mean, that's the worst of it, but that's what's been happening at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, because these cars they have them so tight to the track that once it gets that little, like a tire goes down or you hit a bump or something, the cars. I mean, there's been I think 4 or 5 cars that have flipped.
Yes, there has been
for no reason.
When I was a teenager, I wanted to be an F1 racer.
That's pretty cool.
I should have followed through with that, but I never did.
You know what? Actually, when I was a kid, now that you mention it, when I was a child, I wanted to be a meteorologist because weather interested me very well.
Okay.
But it started. The dream started and stopped really quick. I went to Channel 13. I met Glenn Johnson. He showed me around.
Right.
My family was there too. It was really cool. Like, it's a lot of cool stuff. It's still, weather to this day still is interesting to me.
Right.
Like, stuff like that is really cool. But when I found out you had to be really good at science or really good at math, I was like, yeah.
Well, you could have gotten your meteorology degree, and you could have been like a C student. Then you could move to like San Diego, where every day you're like, today it's going to be 75 degrees.
Yeah, bro.
And slightly breezy.
It's going to be hot outside today.
No, San Diego tends to stay it's pretty temperate. It stays like 75 to 85.
Maybe you should be that guy. I do want to go to San Diego. I really want to go check out Petco Park. It looks amazing.
I took a meteorology class at MCC
a
couple years ago. It was an elective that I had to take, and the professor was hot.
It seems weather to me for some reason is like history. It's just, there's something about it. I can't tell you why, but there's something about it that just gets me.
Weather's cool. It's it's weird to think about how everything.
Well, it's just happens.
Happens.
Cool to be able to look at a map. Like, I can look at a map and say, okay, like, this is going to come across here because of, like, I can look at like, if my mom will say, hey, what's going on with the weather? I'll look at the map and I'll see what the low pressure and high pressure is, and I'll say, okay, because the low pressure is this way and the jet stream is going that way.
Right.
This is going to move there, so you're going to be fine.
Well, I mean, just think, like, last week it was 85 in here in Rochester, and yet in like South Dakota it was snowing.
Yeah.
Colorado had an 85 day last week, and then the very next day got like a foot and a half of snow. Craziness.
Well, global warming also,
Whatever.
Exactly. Moving over to the NBA now. The Minnesota Timberwolves win the NBA draft lottery and the right to pick first. Lakers will pick second, 76ers third. The New York Knicks, the biggest loser out of all of it.
Haven't the Timberwolves won the first pick in the last 3 drafts?
No. I don't think so.
I think they have.
No, they have the picks. Because they got Andrew Wiggins from Cleveland, so they have him.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
They picked up. Then they got the other guy that Cleveland picked first.
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But they have him and Wiggins, and then now they're going to have.
So we're going to have a team with the last 3 top picks.
They're going to have a really good team there.
Nice.
The Knicks, which I'll tell you what, when I saw that the Knicks were picking fourth, there's some kids out front of my house about to get big booted across the lawn. I'll tell you what.
Random people right across your front lawn.
Guess I got to go naked sunbathe later to show them who's boss of this neighborhood. I'm not even joking. I was standing in front of the TV at work, and then when they pulled the Knicks card out at 4, I ran away laughing.
That's funny.
Because I knew it was going to happen.
Right.
And Knicks fans instantly say it was rigged and everything, but whatever, shut up. The Magic will pick 5th. Ex-Oklahoma City Thunder head coach Scott Brooks reportedly turns down New Orleans and Denver job interviews, likely to sit out next season. Excuse me. Did you hear the story about Kevin Garnett this week?
Maybe. All
right, well, fasten your seatbelt, friends. According to longtime friend Tyronn Lue, Kevin Garnett is crazy. The next statement is an exact quote from him. Quote, a lot of people do all their howling on the court and they're just faking for attention, but what he does is genuine. He being Kevin Garnett. Pay attention, Perez.
I am.
Just at least for now.
I am.
So one day we were at his house and we're watching Puff Daddy's show Making the Band. And in one of the scenes, some new guys came in and were trying to sing and just compete against the guys who'd been there.
Okay.
And KG just got so hyped. Quote, mother effer, you got to stand up for yours. You got to fight. Mother effer, you got to come together. End quote. He's going crazy. He's sweaty. And he just headbutts the wall and puts a hole in the wall of his house. Like, Kevin Garnett gets hype as hell watching Making the Band. That's a great story.
I can see Kevin Garnett doing something like that.
Moving over to the playoffs now. Golden State up 2-0 on Houston in the Western Conference Finals, and Cleveland leads Atlanta 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. We're likely going to see the matchup we all wanted, Golden State versus the Cavaliers in the finals. Hopefully with Golden State winning handily because they're a really good basketball team, and
yes.
I don't want to see LeBron win the championship. Moving over to the NHL now, Philadelphia Flyers hire University of North Dakota head coach Dave Haxtell to the same position. Edmonton officially names Todd McLellan as new head coach. Stephen Wino of Canadian Press nailed it on Twitter. He said, quote, the Oilers in the last 32 days win the lottery to get Connor McDavid, put Bob Nicholson in charge, hire Peter Chiarelli as the general manager, and Todd McLellan as a head coach. They've done a good job so far in the offseason turning that ship around, I should say.
Right.
The Boston Bruins name Don Sweeney as a general manager, who's already hired by the franchise, but he's now the GM. Ottawa re-signs goaltender Andrew the Hamburglar Hammond. They currently have 4 goaltenders on NHL deals, so they're going to be doing something.
Speaking of the Hamburglar, have you seen the new Hamburglar?
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy as hell.
It was pretty creepy.
I'm just trying to get through hockey because
go ahead.
I don't want to run too long on this podcast.
Go ahead.
Right now.
Especially since I got to work.
They have 4 goaltenders on NHL deals. Robin Leonard has concussion issues, so he's on the fence right now, and they might trade Craig Anderson, most likely leaving Matt O'Connor and Andrew Hammond as their goaltenders. Then again, they could keep Craig Anderson or Lehner and most likely send O'Connor to AHL. The IHL. We'll see what happens. The Columbus Blue Jackets named forward Nick Foligno their 6th captain in franchise history. St. Louis names Martin Brodeur as the assistant general manager. Signs him to a 3-year contract. And the big news of the week, the Toronto Maple Leafs hire Detroit Red Wings head coach Mike Babcock to an 8-year, $50 million deal. Now, the Buffalo Sabres, I knew what you were going to ask. The Buffalo Sabres were in to the last minute.
Right.
Apparently, 2 days before Babcock signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Sabres believed they had a deal in place with Babcock. They were a little shocked when Babcock tweeted or texted a media member and said, I'm going to make my decision tomorrow on Thursday. And it essentially came down to, at least what I believe, at the press conference, Mike Babcock flat out said, I wanted to coach, at the end of the day, I wanted to be the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
From what I gather, the deal he got with Toronto was a little less than what Buffalo was offering him, but he called Toronto the morning of and said, look, guys, like, I want to be your head coach. If you can give me a good deal, I will be the guy.
Right.
And like I said, he flat out said he wants to be the coach of the Maple Leafs. If the guy doesn't want to be in Buffalo, that's fine. At least you're honest. You're not BSing us.
Exactly.
But to show you, first off, to show you how serious Buffalo was in it, at Thursday morning at 11:35 in the morning, that's when they were notified. He made his decision official about, I think it was like 3 o'clock. It came out that he was going to be the head coach of the Maple Leafs. But Toronto, first off, they bought the Argonauts, and they scheduled a press conference for Thursday morning. And if you're telling me they did that knowing they would get Mike Babcock, you're crazy, because hockey's a little more important than football is in Toronto.
That's a true story.
Also, Toronto was about to interview Guy Boucher, the ex-Tampa Bay Lightning head coach. They had him coming over from Switzerland. And so if you're telling me they're going to fly over from Switzerland to interview for a job that they were planning on filling, You're also crazy. So it's unfortunate for the Buffalo Sabres. I
knew something was going on with Mr. Babcock, because when you were doing the watch at one point, you tweeted out "cock watch,"
#cockwatch,
and I was like, "What the heck is Ryan watching right now?"
We're having fun with it, because we were starting to lose our minds at that point.
Right.
But, I wrote an article over at SabresHockeyCentral.com. Check it out if you have a minute. It's actually crazy because I wrote 1,000 words and I haven't written an article in months, so it felt kind of nice to clear my brain cells there for a second. But most likely the Buffalo Sabres are going to look at Dan Bylsma of the Pittsburgh Penguins and Luke Richardson of the Binghamton Senators in the AHL. They've already asked for permission to interview Bylsma from the Penguins because the Penguins fired Bylsma, but he's still under contract. They're still paying him, so they can still try to seek something in terms of compensation for letting him go. So keep an eye out on that. Obviously, we'll keep you posted. I don't remember when I started and stopped this, but it's been we're good. In the playoffs, Anaheim leads Chicago 2-1 in the Western Conference Finals, and Tampa Bay and the New York Rangers are tied at 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. A final that is really taking the spotlight off of goaltending because both goaltenders have not been good.
No, they have not.
Both Henrik Lundqvist and Ben Bishop have been atrocious.
Yes, they have.
To say the least. But goal scoring is fun.
It is. I agree.
So at least we can enjoy that. Moving over to Major League Baseball now, Detroit first baseman Miguel Cabrera hits his 400th career home run and puts himself first all-time for home runs by a Venezuelan-born player.
Good job, dude.
Andres Galarraga, a blast from the past right there, had 399. He was the all-time leader, obviously not anymore. Miami fires manager Mike Redmond. We had speculated that out last week, or I think it was last week or the week before. Minutes after losing their 6th game in 7 tries, almost getting no hit by the Atlanta Braves. And naturally, it wouldn't be the Miami Marlins without... what's my sister's friend? It wouldn't be the Miami Marlins without them making a very, very, very weird move. Like, weird as they promoted their general manager to be the head coach of their baseball team. But the general manager never in his life has had professional coaching experience or managing experience. And it just so happens that ever since Miami named him the head coach, or the manager, not head coach, never call baseball.
No, manager.
Manager, a head coach, he'll rip your face off. Ever since they named Dan Jennings the manager, they haven't won a game.
Interesting.
It's not fair to the players, but, they don't want to have to pay another coach. So I guess it works, but it's stupid. Oakland pitcher Jared Parker undergoes elbow surgery, and an update from what we had a few weeks ago. News is much better than expected. His ligaments in his elbow were not damaged, so a third Tommy John surgery is not necessary.
Well, that's good.
Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Hyunjin Ryu. There we go. Out for the season after surgery to repair a torn shoulder labrum. The Dodgers reportedly knew the injury when they signed him over 2 years ago. He's pitched through it, but it's gotten worse since, so he fixed it. And our favorite news story of the week. The New York Yankees forced Tampa Bay single-A affiliate, the Charlotte Stonecrabs, to cancel A-Rod Juicebox Night. According to the Associated Press, I'm not sure if you saw this part, Perez, quote, the juice boxes warned of side effects such as tainted records, inflated ego, omission from the Hall of Fame.
Yes, they did.
And the tagline on the juice boxes, 100% juiced.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah. I saw that article and I started laughing very hard.
When you're a minor league baseball team, you got to find a way to market yourself and get people to notice you. And this is as good as this is the perfect scenario, my friends, of when they say no press,
Right.
Bad press is there's no such thing as bad press.
Well, that's why I sent you the link to the article, because they actually had a picture of the juice boxes.
I didn't see that. I didn't see the picture of the juice box. I'll have to go back and let me get it.
I have it pinned to my screen. I'll pull it up right now.
I don't ever delete your text messages because I know reasons like that. I don't delete your text messages.
I pinned it to my home screen. So, yes, and the tagline for the actual event was "Come get juiced."
I got it right here.
Tonight at 6:30.
MSN. Oh, man. Oh, come on.
Yeah, dude.
They just literally put stickers on juice boxes?
Yes, bro.
That is amazing.
Absolutely awesome. It was hilarious. Tell me that's not like one of the greatest things a AAA affiliate's ever done.
Single A.
Single A. That's what I meant. Sorry. But yes, they literally just put stickers on juice boxes describing the side effects. And the tagline was, "Come get juiced." Which is, I mean, come on. Hilarious. Good job, guys.
Congratulations, guys. This is the first time a Tampa Bay team has ever done anything that I've liked.
Side effects include tainted records, inflated ego, and omission from the Hall of Fame.
One last thing before we send it to commercial break. Gear guy update. Jose Berrios had a tough start this week. He took the loss, fell to 4-2 on the season. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Only 80 pitches, but 51 for strikes. So the control it seems to be like it was there as usual. His ERA inflates a little to 2.88. It's the first time Berrios failed to record more than 5 innings pitched in a game since he last recorded only 5 innings on April 22nd, 5 starts ago. Jose Berrios makes his next start Saturday night, tonight on the 23rd, against the Mobile Bay Bears. So we'll have that update next week. Also, this week, sporting news, Frank Neville named Jose Berrios the 17th best prospect in all of baseball.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the news that you need to know.
Now you know it.
When we get back, Mr. Perez is going to say hello to someone.
Yes, I am.
And he's going to tell us a story.
Yes, I am.
Why don't you stick around for more of the Better Live Than Dead podcast right after this. While you're listening to this podcast, make sure you follow us on social media. You can follow me at WolfSHC on Twitter. You can also follow Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez. Make sure to like the podcast on Facebook. That's facebook.com/BLTD Podcast. And make sure to follow Gear Network on Twitter at GERE Network.
This free and independent sportscast is made possible when you shop the Gear Network store through Amazon. Visit GearNetwork.com and click on the Amazon banner to shop through Amazon's thousands of products at great prices delivered right to your front door. Again, that's GearNetwork.com and click the Amazon banner at the top.
You're listening to Better Live Than Dead on the Gear Radio Network.
Wait till I get my money right.
Back here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Episode 44, peoples.
Episode number 44. We're making it happen, my friend.
Yes, yes.
We're getting close to episode 50.
We are getting close to episode 50.
We may have a special episode 50. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do with that. And then I don't know if 52 is going to be a big episode or if we're just going to try to mix up the dates and find out when our first episode was.
Right.
Because like I said, we've done a few extra here and there.
Yes.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, Perez, as usual.
Yes, yes.
Who would you like to say hello to this week?
Today, I would like to say hello to actually 2 people. I'd like to say hello to Salt and Pepper because they've been making a comeback lately. And have you watched Lip Sync Battle yet?
I've seen videos of it, but I've never watched it.
You gotta watch Lip Sync Battle. It's hilarious. Well, this past week, the Lip Sync Battle was Salt versus Pepper.
I saw something about that.
And I gotta be honest with you, they're both looking quite terrific.
It's fantastic.
They're looking quite terrific.
That was like my bad Christopher Walken impression.
It's all good. Pepper looks really good. I didn't realize Pepper was that tall. But she had like long hair. She was wearing a little black dress, showing off her legs. She has nice legs. I gotta give her props. But dude, Salt came out And she had on some like yoga pants and like a tank top with a buttoned shirt that was open. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't realize that Salt was built the way that she's built. She's thick, but in a very good way. Like her booty was looking great, and I didn't.
There's nothing wrong with a nice built thick chick.
No, there's not at all. And her upper portion, I didn't realize she was as big as she is. So I'm sitting there watching lip sync battle, and I was like, gosh. I
love how you said her upper portion.
her breastises.
Next time I see a girl with large breasts, I'm gonna be like, you know what, miss.
I like your upper portion.
Your upper portion is magnificent.
Your upper torso is awesome.
Your upper torso is fantastic.
Exactly, but and that's how I felt about Salt. I was like, I grew up with Salt and Pepper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they were built the way that they are. And I was like, wow, good for you two. And the lip sync battle was awesome. Pepper won, which I didn't think she had won. I thought Salt had won, but that's just my opinion, whatever. LL makes the decision out of crowd noise, and I thought the crowd was a little louder for Salt. But
went a recount.
Yeah, right. But yeah, dude, they both looked rather terrific.
Did you see
and Salt is built awesomely.
The upper torso.
And the lower torso, the whole package. She's short. She's thick.
I enjoy your complete torso.
Yeah, she's yeah, right, exactly. She has a big booty and big breasts, and she's good looking. So good for her.
Did you see the
so
video?
Hello to Salt and Pepper.
Hello. Did you see the video this week of Dwayne Johnson?
Which one?
He pulled. There's a I believe he's a comedian, Nick Mundy.
Okay.
But he also, he did a thing with Chris Jericho called Nothing to Report, where Chris Jericho was they're doing a comedy. It's like a short, I think 6 clip.
Okay.
5 minutes apiece, but they're trying to get a show out of it on Comedy Central. But he also does stuff for I can't remember what the website is, but it's the one that makes the honest trailers.
Okay.
Of movies. Where he goes out and he interviews people about the movies. Like he'll be the guy that does the press junkets and stuff.
Who, The Rock?
No, Nick Mundy.
Oh, okay.
And he had a rapport with The Rock where they would always do crazy stuff and have a lot of fun with it and kind of break the monotony. Well, this one they told Nick Mundy that he was going to be they're going to do this crazy idea, and they're going to go over the top and do a bunch of crazy stuff, and The Rock was going to totally dig it, and all The Rock's people were like, no, that's stupid. And the guy was like, I screwed it up. I dropped the ball. This is going to be terrible. The Rock's not going to want to be my friend anymore, because at this point The Rock's like, yo, we're pals, we're buds, we're bros,
right.
We're best friends ever. And come to find out, everybody except for Nick was in on it, that The Rock ended up getting ordained and having a flash wedding and marrying him and his fiance that afternoon.
That's hilarious.
And he had no idea it was happening.
That's hilarious.
He has a wedding certificate signed by The Rock. And him and his wife. The Rock signed Dwayne Johnson. The Rock signed the marriage certificate, signed all the legal papers. He's an ordained minister in California. He did all the legal work, a lot of work to make this thing happen. They flew in his family, his friends,
right?
His close friends, his family from Texas, I believe it was, and it was amazing.
I'm ordained, so if anybody out there is getting married, just let me know. I could do your wedding.
You married my brother and his wife.
I did. Well, I performed the ceremony. I didn't actually marry your brother and his wife, because
if you're into that,
weird to marry both of them at the same time.
If you're into that, yeah,
right, exactly. But
I know when you're the minute you can say I performed a ceremony,
yes,
but
I did perform the ceremony.
Everybody naturally says it's you married them.
Yes, they do. Hey, if I got to marry a couple, I could choose a worse couple.
Yeah, twist my arm behind my back, right?
Yeah. Your brother's not a bad-looking dude, and Jess is really, really good-looking, and they both got 2 adorable kids, so I could fit in there somehow.
Be like the odd couple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
if you get a chance to check that out, that's a really cool video. It's really fun.
You know what? The Rock has not missed the WWE.
I think when he left the WWE, nobody expected him to become the biggest movie star in the world.
Right.
But that guy put the same amount of work he put into the WWE, he put 10 times more into becoming an actor.
Right.
And, he's got the look, so that's half the battle, but he actually can act.
Yes.
And I think that's the one movie that really struck me.
He was in the first episode of Lip Sync Battle.
The one thing that struck me was when I watched Pain and Gain.
Yes.
And he legitimately was being someone he isn't.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this guy's got a career.
Well, I mean,
And then like you see all the Fast movies he was in.
Look at Be Cool.
I never watched that.
Dude, check out Be Cool.
Okay.
It's a follow-up to Get Shorty.
I've been meaning to watch those.
He plays a gay bodyguard. And he's absolutely hilarious at it. Be Cool is awesome.
Although Rock is going to come back to fight Triple H next year's WrestleMania, which I probably would mark out for.
Well, I hope that they put The Rock over Triple H.
I think they are.
Like they didn't put Sting over Triple H.
Well, because I think
they
they put Rock over Triple H because I think if I'm not mistaken, it might end up being Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie. But that'd
be awesome.
That's the rumor right now.
That'd be two females in the ring that I would not mind rolling around with.
Yeah, Perez might need to have a bathroom break during that match for unspecified reasons.
That's a very real possibility.
He might need a fan and like a towel to pat himself down.
Because I think Ronda Rousey's a good-looking chick.
I think she's a good looking chick, but the fact that she could like
break you in half.
Yeah,
like I'm not into
chicks. I'm not into chicks kicking the crap out of me. But there's just me,
ladies. I'm all right with it. Just
look at. I'm not into like getting the.
Is that squirrel hiding underneath my car?
Yeah, I'm not into like getting pulverized by women. But I'll tell you what, if like this chick can, like I'm gonna try to fight you and like I could legitimately beat you up. I'm like,
cool.
That's hot, man. Like, yes. Whatever.
And I just think Stephanie McMahon's hot. Period.
Absolutely. She has aged well, just as long as she doesn't age like Vince, where Vince was kind of like Vince didn't look old for a long time,
right?
But now Vince looks like he's about 85,
right?
And he's in his like late 60s.
Yeah, well, steroids will do that to you.
Yeah, he looks like an old hot dog.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that being said,
high salt and pepper.
What time is it?
With preference on salt.
What time is it?
I think it's story time.
Time to hit the bumper.
Around, kids. It's story time with Mr. Perez.
So for this week, for story time with Mr. Perez, I did have a story that I was going to share, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to talk about something else. Now, Ryan, as you know,
I'm not going to stop you.
I appreciate that. As you know, your brother's been involved in wrestling for quite some time. You've hung out with some of the wrestlers. Obviously, you know John now very well.
It's like a large family. I know pretty much everybody. Yeah.
And of course you know Hobie and you know Rob and you know Shay.
Yeah.
Well, not that long ago, a couple years now, Rob and Shay used to hang out with the whole crew, and all of a sudden it just stopped. Like it just stopped, and. There was some words were said about people, and some things were said on podcasts. I gotta be honest with you, I don't recall if names were ever really dropped, but inferences were made, and people knew who we were talking about. Well, Hobie just did a podcast, and he brought Rob on, and. Hobie was saying that he was going to get the air cleaned out, and Rob was going to drop why he was mad at people, this and that. So I was curious to know what was going to be said. And I listened to the first podcast. He broke it up into 3 different podcasts. So I listened to the first one. It was basically the history behind how Rob got involved in the wrestling world. And let me say this, before I go on, I would like to say this. I, personally, do not have an issue with either Rob or Shay. I wish them well. I wish them success in whatever they go forward and do. I hear that Shay is pregnant. Good for her. It seems like she's been pregnant for 2 years now. But I hope the kid is healthy. I hope the kid is strong. I wish them the best in whatever they choose to do from here on out. But so, on the way here to do this podcast, John sends me a text, and he says, he had just listened to the third part of the podcast on why Rob was upset at us, and it stems from his Tylicious character. Okay, so for you in podcast land who don't know, I've been a manager of wrestling for quite some time now. Manage a group called the Underworld Cartel. In our heyday, we were one of the biggest groups in upstate New York, Western New York, Western, Eastern, East Coast wrestling. Everyone knew who the Underworld Cartel was. We traveled quite a bit. We did a lot of shows. We beat a lot of people up. Rob was Titus Smith. He was, quote unquote, Tiger Smith's brother. And he was our enforcer. And so he would come out and he would just clear the ring and beat the junk out of people. Well, when he started working for a couple other feds, him and Shay came up with a gimmick called Tylicious, where he went from being an enforcer to being gay. And you know what? Whatever. If that's the gimmick you want to do, go ahead and do it. But the reason I'm saying this is because if he listens to this, I want to clear this up. He said that the whole thing started because we talked some stuff about Tylicious and didn't like the character. Quite frankly, that's not exactly true. While I wasn't a fan of the character, I didn't really care about the character. If he had fun playing that character, play that character. Do what you got to do. But when that character was first devised, he had told us in order to separate the two characters, he would wear a mask as Tylicious, so that would give him some quote-unquote separation between the Titus character and Tylicious. And so we were like, yeah, that's fine, cool. But then when he first played the character, he actually didn't wear a mask. So he went out looking like Titus, who just now happened to be quote-unquote gay. And that's where the issue I had was. You said one thing, you did a different thing, and quite frankly, when you go from one fed to another, if you're playing the same character, whatever, but if you're the bruiser in this one fed, and you're a gay person in another fed, it just doesn't jive with who you are. So if you had did the mask thing at first, whatever, I wouldn't have cared. So I was a little upset that they didn't put the mask on, and I know that his wife, who's now his wife at the time, had some input into that. And so that bothered me. But it didn't bother me enough to make me mad at them. Whatever. It's a wrestling character. It's a fake persona. It's not going to bother me at all to the point where I'm going to talk junk about you. Whatever. I don't care that much.
You wouldn't talk junk. You'd at least talk garbage.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. But and I did to his face a couple of times. Like, come on, dude. Like, But
no, I think, and just my 2 cents, just before I don't want to have you go off too far off the rails, but I'm not saying that you are, but just trying to keep on track here. I think a lot of just my point of view here, a lot of miscommunication happens among wrestlers in this, especially in this large group of people. It's always, well, I think he's mad at me because they said this or they thought
right.
that, and that person thinks that maybe I did this or they did that.
Right.
It's like if you think there's a problem, you know how to get a hold of them. They know how to get a hold of you. You know how to get a hold of anybody.
Right.
If there's an issue, just say, hey, dog, like I think there's a problem. Let's just, whatever.
Right. And and there was some situations going on at the time that I was truly bothered by. I'm not going to get into specifics, but there was some things going on and some rumors that I was bothered by. And when I would try to broach the subject with them, I never really got a clear answer, but it wasn't enough to make me not be friendly with them. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, quite frankly, I know the reason why they stopped hanging out with like John and Dawn. Like, I know the reason. They told them the reason, and then the reason was told to me. So I know the true reason. So to make it seem like it's just one character that they played that caused all of this is completely false. And the fact of the matter is this. As I said before, I'm going to say it one more time. I don't have an issue with you people.
A lot of miscommunication, like I said.
Quite frankly, I mean, in order for me to have an issue with you, and I'm going to say something, and it's probably going to be misconstrued, but I don't care. In order for me to have an issue with you, you have to mean something to me.
I can see how that probably will be misconstrued.
And quite frankly, you don't mean enough to me to disrupt my world. Rob, I'll always love you. You were a brother for a while, and then you disappeared. I have no issue with you at all. you're my boy. If you ever need an ear, I'm here for you. I will listen. Shay, I have no issue with you. That's all I'm going to say. I think there's some issues there that need to be worked out, but I have no problem with Shay. Whatever. Like I said, she's supposedly pregnant. I'm happy for her. She's been whining the kid for a while. And, listen, they were on the bowling team with me for a while.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I'd make fun of Rob. I'm not going to lie to you. I would make fun of Rob. Shay was really trying to get pregnant. And so she was basically raping her husband. And Rob was kind of complaining about how much sex he was having. And I would make fun of Rob. Like, dude, come on, bro. Like, really? like you're having lots of sex and you're complaining about it? I don't understand. I don't understand where the problem is. And he was like, come on, dude. I'm like 39. I was like, yeah, bro, we're the same age. And I'm not having the, like I have probably just as much, but like you're complaining about being tired, which suck it up, bro. Like, sex is sex. Now there's some people who out there be like, yeah, but look who's having sex with. And whatever. Shay is a nice girl. If Rob is very attracted to her, that's a beautiful thing. I'm happy that they're happy. So keep that up. But literally, because you had a kid, but you're having a kid. But so I don't have an issue with you people at all. I just don't, I don't want there to be the misconception that the reason there was issues was because of Tylicious, because that's not it at all.
Yeah.
So if you hear this podcast, like I said, I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy you're having a kid.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on that. You guys are going to be great parents because you guys have wanted a kid for so long. So hopefully,
I agree with you.
You're not going to get a lot of sleep, but hey, that happens. And sincerely, I wish you good luck on your future endeavors. Now, here's the thing. I may be on podcasts or I may be online where I make fun of UW. That's going to happen because that federation is atrocious. But you can't be mad at me for that because that federation is atrocious. But don't take it personal because it's not personal. So once again, good luck with your life. Hope the kid is healthy. Hope the kid is strong. And even if the kid's not, healthy, if there's some type, love your kid. Love your child. Be the best parents you could be. And that would be awesome for you guys.
Absolutely.
So, hi, Salt and Pepper.
Glad we could clear that up.
I just...
Well, I know it's I know stuff, it doesn't... It's
I'm not the type of guy that,
You just want to clear the air because I know when you mentioned it to me earlier, I could tell it's bugging you, and that's what this is for.
Yeah, it doesn't really bug me, but I'm not the type of dude like...
No, it bugs you enough, though, to say something, to be like, no, that's... You're wrong... And I don't want you to think that's why there was ever an issue.
Yeah, because that's not reason. That's not the reason.
No, exactly.
So, and if you know what the real reason is, go with what the real reason is. I'm not going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because I was never really part of the issue in the first place.
Exactly.
And the two people who were, or the people who were supposedly were, the reason there was an issue was because of something completely not even related to whatever. I'm not going to put it out there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, when it comes down to it, it's none of our business.
Right.
We know the problem, but
yeah, I'm not going to put it out there. But
not your spot to say.
But the fact of the matter is, when it comes right down to it, the real reason is actually pretty childish, and they need to get over it, especially since now what they've wanted is happening.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But, so good luck with you. Good luck with your future endeavors,
seriously.
guys.
Congratulations on the baby.
Yes.
Best of luck.
I'll send you a card.
You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Kids are great. I mean, I don't have kids, but I've been around enough kids where,
Well, your nephew and your niece seem to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, not so much J-Dog yet, because he
getting there. He
can't talk or anything yet, but...
His actions are
But
hilarious.
Def Ray seems hilarious.
She
seems like she's got a great personality. She seems pretty spunky.
For a 3-year-old, yeah.
your brother and your sister-in-law are going to have their hands full with her. So,
well, it always seems to be too. If you have a girl before a boy, it just for some reason it just seems like that.
I don't know.
It just seems like it.
So
maybe they just got the luck of the draw with her. So
maybe
we'll see. But story time, Mr. Perez is now concluded.
Yes, it is.
When we get back, we're going to talk the National Football League and have some listener questions.
Yes.
Stay tuned. More of the Better Live Than Dead podcast next.
Hey, Don, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America, that one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that...
And a little of what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Don, is a real humdinger.
Humdinger.
Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go to. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at gearnetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low rate here on the Gear Radio Network.
Live from the Wolf Den Studios, you are listening to Better Live Than Dead.
And we are back here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast. I don't know why I did it. My brain was just like, talk like a robot there for a second, why don't you?
Yes,
I was trying to do like how you come back from commercial, because I was going to ask you to do it, but you look kind of busy, so I was trying to do what you do. And you always kind of do like the delayed, like, and we're back on the Better Live Than Dead podcast. And instead, my brain was like, hey, moron, talk like a robot.
Well, I was just on Facebook, and I had asked someone last night that they were making a German apple pie. And so I asked what the difference between a German apple pie and regular apple pie was. And I guess a German apple pie does not have a crust on the top, and it has some type of cream filling in the apples.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
I don't like apple pie very much.
Oh, what? How can you not like apple pie?
I'm still working. The problem I have is with everything, but it's getting better. It's just with food consistency, that if there's a weird consistency to it, like I can eat applesauce all day. I can eat apples, but I cannot eat the outside of the apple.
I love apple pie.
The apple skin. So I'm working on it.
I love apple pie.
I was about to say, you love pie. I know you love pie.
You know I love me some pie. That's a true story. That is not a lie.
We're both on our cell phones right now.
High salt and pepper. Not
paying attention to the podcast that's in front of us. Whatever. Anyways.
Well, I just pulled up this article. This article on, you know who the Duggars are? The Duggars?
Yeah, don't even get me started.
So they got like 19 kids.
That's some effed up stuff going on there.
Well, I just pulled up this article on, I guess, Josh, who's one of the boys, as a 14-year-old, fooled around with some girls.
In the family.
That's not what this says.
It was the family. It was family members, if I'm not mistaken.
Not according to this.
And they tried to cover it up.
Well,
they did cover it up. They didn't try to. They did cover it up.
Well, I have to read more into this because I didn't hear it was the family.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe the article I read was incorrect, but
I heard that it was some other girls that he was, that he supposedly touched as a 14-year-old, but they were like the same age as he was. And let's be completely honest with you, what 14-year-old has not done that? I'm just throwing that out there. As a 14-year-old, you
as a child, don't even get me started. You as a child, Perez, you were like a 27-year-old man as a child.
Well, I was at 14. I was fooling around with other 14-year-olds. So I feel like the fact that there's this spotlight on this guy now, and he's getting in trouble for this, if that's what really happened, is that he was 14 and fooling around with a couple other 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, whatever, is stupid. Because as a young teenager, You explore. You want to know what you like. It happens.
Yeah, but if it was something else, I don't want.
Well, yeah, if it was something else, it's bad.
We'll do more research before we talk about how's that.
Well, I just did, so I don't really care. I'm just saying, as a 14-year-old, I know what I did as a 14-year-old with other 14-year-old girls. So, whatever.
Talk football now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the NFL, the National Football League,
San Francisco,
the America's pastime, which is supposed to be baseball, but let's be honest, it's really football.
I mean, it depends who you ask, I guess.
Talk about the pigskin.
San Francisco 49ers defensive end.
I like Chicharrones.
I'm going to smack you.
There it is right there. I've been waiting for it. I don't think you told me you were going to smack me last episode.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm trying to talk. Every time I talk, you say something. And it's not even like you're not in front of me, so you can see what I'm going to talk. San Francisco 49er defensive end Justin Smith announces his retirement. 221 games in his career, 87 sacks, 880 tackles, 17 forced fumbles, 13 interceptions in 14 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals.
San Fran is in so much trouble next year.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you want to hear the thing about Justin Smith? The word that can define this man is consistency, okay? In 111 games with the Cincinnati Bengals, he had 43.5 sacks. In 110 games with San Francisco, guess how many sacks he had? 43.5.
That's hilarious.
One less game, same amount of sacks.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty good. That's consistency right there.
That is consistency.
Reports out of Buffalo this week say that quarterback E.J. Manuel may not make the 53-man roster out of training camp if vast improvement is not shown. I guess, it would be kind of a shocker. But then again, if he's not getting better, why keep him around?
Did they waste a...
That was a very bad pick, yeah, first-round pick.
Wasn't that a first-round?
Yeah, but the thing is, don't keep him on your roster if he's just going to be...
Wasn't that a first-round draft pick?
Yeah.
That was a first-round, right?
Yeah. Every quarterback the Bills have tried to draft and failed is... Well, I mean, J.P. Lossman was the first round.
Did y'all draft him in the first round?
J.P. Lossman, yeah.
No, I'm talking about E.J.
Yeah, E.J. and J.P. Lossman and Trent Edwards and...
That was a great pick, guys.
You know what? If they never... I wonder what would have happened if they never benched Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson. What would have happened?
I have no idea.
Probably Bills would have a Super Bowl.
It's very possible.
Well, I mean, that year that they lost to the Titans when they beat the Titans, but lost to them because the NFL's stupid.
Right.
The Titans went to the Super Bowl. Who would have thunk it? Maybe Doug Flutie would have done some crazy Doug Flutie stuff.
Maybe. It's very possible.
Doug Flutie's a man.
I like Doug Flutie.
Miami extends quarterback Ryan Tannehill to a 4-year, $77 million extension. $45 million in guarantees, $25 fully guaranteed at signing. Andrew Brandt of NFL.com said the deal seems kind of like Colin Kaepernick's and Andy Dalton's deal, where it's a 2-year deal essentially with 2 option years, which makes sense. The National Football League reportedly asked New England to look guilty before dropping the Deflategate findings on people, which is why the reported deflators got suspended preemptively before the report came out. Also this week, New England owner Robert Kraft announces he will not appeal, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Also, Roger Goodell says he won't take himself off the Brady appeal. Reportedly said he wants to look him in the eyes and have him tell the truth. Whatever, he's a weirdo.
I feel Roger needs to distance himself from this.
I feel Roger, I if I'm not mistaken, what I read yesterday is the NFLPA is going to hitch their wagon to Tom Brady and make an example out of Roger Goodell. And they're going to try to get Roger Goodell off cases like this where they have an independent arbitrator for every suspension, because this one shows you, what is he doing?
Right.
There's no actual concrete evidence that this happened.
Right.
They can't prove it, but he still suspended Tom Brady for 4 games.
Yes.
To make a point. Something's going to come out of this. We'll find out in time, and we'll be here to talk about it. But right now, this is all we have. San Diego Chargers Dean Spanos hands over day-to-day control of the Chargers to his sons John and AG. Spanos will remain the chairman of the team's new stadium search board, but will not be involved in any decision-making. The NFL announces this week that they will move the PATs back officially. Essentially, now a PAT will be a 32-yard field goal, so less of a guarantee, but more or less a guarantee still.
Yeah,
you can return a blocked PAT now for 2 points, or I believe the 2-point conversion will be at the 2. So maybe more teams will go for a 2-point conversion now.
Maybe,
but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, me too.
New York Jets offensive coordinator Chan Gailey says quarterback Geno Smith is and will be the Jets starting quarterback this year. No competition in training camp. Does that surprise you?
No competition in training camp.
No competition. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was mildly successful in a Chan Gailey offense in Buffalo. He's just going to apparently be the backup.
Interesting.
Very interesting. They're hitching the wagon to Geno Smith, I guess.
I wonder how John feels about that.
I wonder, too. Maybe he'll tell us on his podcast on Get Ready America, heard exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
Check it out. I listened to that. I listened to one of the episodes this month. I got to listen to the next one. And they were talking about boxing. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with what they were saying about boxing.
I don't either. Like the thing is, and I'm just going to point this out really quick. Everybody's quick to jump the gun and say boxing is dead. Do me a favor. Tell me how much the gate was at the arena in Los Angeles or in Las Vegas. I apologize. Tell me how much money they made on pay-per-view. Tell me how many people tuned in. Tell me how successful it was on social media. I mean, I understand it was the biggest fight we've seen in a long time.
Right.
Boxing's not dead.
No, boxing's not dead. Now, heavyweight boxing in the United States right now is kind of dead.
It's on life support for sure.
It is, but all the under classes, the flyweights, the lightweights, the bantamweights, the middleweights, they have some phenomenal boxing talent who are tearing up the scene. And quite honestly, heavyweight boxing is huge right now overseas.
If you want to watch good boxing, you have to find it, unfortunately. But I do agree with them in the fact that they said that UFC is a lot more exciting, because it is more exciting. But that's like combat sports. Boxing is not combat. Boxing is boxing.
Right.
UFC is two grown men sanctionally beating the crap out of each other for entertainment.
Boxing is more strategic in a way.
Yeah, it's like chess.
Yeah. So I don't think boxing is dead at all. I think heavyweight boxing right now is struggling in the United States.
Boxing needs help, but it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
It'll come back around.
Yeah, I think boxing is okay.
Moving back to football now, the New York Giants lose starting left tackle. It's okay. That's what the podcast is for.
I'm not really sorry about that.
We do what we want. It's a good talk. Starting left tackle Will Beatty out 5 to 6 months after suffering a torn pectoral muscle, or tendon, I believe it was, while lifting weights. Buffalo defensive tackle Marcel Daria suspended 1 game for violating a substance abuse policy. League did not specify the substance, but it is related to his arrest in May of 2014, where he was arrested for felony possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia, which was believed to have been marijuana. Dallas signs cornerback Orlando Scandrick to a 1-year, $9.5 million contract extension. And ex-St. Louis Ram and Dallas Cowboy defensive end Michael Sam keeps the dream alive
CFL
by signing with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. And that's a good move.
That's a good move.
I mean, he's a talented football player.
He is.
I feel like just the stigma of him being a gay football player has it's like it's teams either don't want to take the risk or just don't want the media circus, which, I mean, if the guy proves to be a good football player, I hope someone takes a shot on him.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Because I don't care the fact that he's homosexual. It does not matter.
No.
Moving over now to the new weekly segment. The Better Live Than Dead listener question, brought to you by Fathead. Now, what do you feel, Lewis? What do you make of New England Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, what he said to the media this week? He announced the team would not pursue appealing money and draft pick penalties. Quote, "I'm going to accept reluctantly what Goodell has given us and not continue this dialogue and rhetoric. We won't appeal."
Well, I feel it's a smart move on his part, simply because it's only $1 million. I mean, first of all, $1 million to that franchise is mere pennies.
It's less of the fine and less of the taking the picks away than is precedent, I believe.
Right.
And I almost think that it's because, like they always say in life, pick your battles.
Right. And this is an easy battle to just say, okay, here you go.
Well, if Kraft says, we'll take it on the chin now, they're making something down the road where Kraft might say, "Hey guys, and hey Roger, I need your help. I need a little poll.
Right.
I need your like signature on this, or I need your help. Remember that time I took it on the chin for you with the Deflategate,
right,
and made you look good. Help me out."
Yeah, so I think strategically it's a good move. I think he just wants to have that portion of it over.
Well, and I guarantee you, I don't believe you can. If I'm not mistaken, you can't appeal the picks. You can't appeal the picks and the fines.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I think obviously losing the picks is stupid to me.
Well,
but
plus they're going to come after Goodell with the PA and with Tom Brady. So I mean that's going to get ugly.
Yeah. So I think it was a good move. Just get it over and done with on that end, and move on to the next thing.
Moving on to the next question we were sent in to us. By the way, if you want to send us any questions, You can hit up Perez at MRLG Perez on Twitter, myself at Wolf SHC. Better Live Than Dead Podcast at BLTD Podcast. You can hit up Gear Network at GERE Network on the tweets. GearNetwork.com, Facebook.com/BLTD Podcast, Facebook.com/Gear Network.
Right.
Wherever you can get a hold of us, people, send us these questions. We'll answer them for you. It's not a big deal. We enjoy it.
Exactly.
Last question here. On Get Ready America, John posted the question regarding Tom Brady and what Deflategate does to his status as a Hall of Famer. 1. Does this affect whether or not Tom Brady makes it in the Hall of Fame after he retires?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I think it's a big NO.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any way it affects him being a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer right now.
It's because everyone knows that every quarterback that plays football has a particular way that they like their footballs. And the fact that this has been blown up to such a huge controversy is kind of ridiculous.
Okay, you're going to tell me that Tom Brady's not a Hall of Famer because he may or may not have participated in deflating footballs, but it's okay for Hall of Fame wide receivers back in the day to use Stickum.
Right,
or,
exactly.
Or guys today to wear gloves that have have tacky
exactly.
so you can catch them. No.
There's always a workaround.
Exactly.
That's his workaround. Big deal.
The National Football League is a work, my friends.
Right.
To work.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's got what? How many Super Bowl rings?
4.
Right. So how are you not going to put someone with 4 Super Bowl rings in the Hall of Fame? Especially with his numbers.
He's been to 6.
Right. He's been to 6. So
he's been to 6. He lost to the Giants. Lost to the Giants twice, yeah.
He's been to 6, won 4. He's got incredible numbers. How are you not going to put that guy in the Hall of Fame? I don't care if some of his footballs were deflated. Especially since it didn't make any, it had no bearing on the outcome of that football game.
Exactly.
At all.
Question number 2. Both John and Dawn said Brady would have to fight as far as he can to clear his name. Excuse me. Try that again. Both John and Dawn said that Brady would have to fight as far as he can to clear his name if he truly feels he is not guilty. John said he felt that any sort of conceding on Brady's part would be an admission of guilt. Do you guys feel that Brady needs to pull a Roger Clemens and fight tooth and nail to clear his name?
No, I don't think so.
And I don't either.
I think in this day and age that if Brady comes out and says, yeah, so I like my balls at 10.5 PSI instead of 12.5 PSI, people are going to say, okay, there you go. Brad Johnson's like this ball scuffed up. He used to hire people to go scruff him up before a game. This person did that. This person did that.
It's the stigma. It's the stigma of the New England Patriots. We still it's 2015 right now.
Right.
We still hear about Spygate.
Right. People like to hate on the New England Patriots. And say what you want to about them. The fact of the matter is they're a good football team. They've proved it time and time again.
And you know why people don't like them very much?
Because they win.
Because of all that jewelry that they have.
Exactly. Because they win.
Because your quarterback is not Tom Brady, your head coach is not Bill Belichick. And this comes from a Buffalo Bills fan and a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Exactly.
We're as impartial as it comes.
Yeah.
Do I like the Patriots? Hell no.
No, I don't at all. But
I know and understand where Tom Brady and where Bill Belichick and where the New England Patriots place in football history, where it stands and where it needs to be.
They may be the greatest coach quarterback tandem ever.
I don't even think they are.
They very well. Yeah, I mean they very well might be. I can't say that they are because, quite frankly, Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman were awesome together.
That's because you're a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes, but I feel that if Jimmy Johnson had not left, that they would have won 4 in a row.
The Patriots have 4 Super Bowls. That's
true.
They have the most wins between a quarterback and a head coach ever, and they have 4 Super Bowl rings.
Dallas has 5.
These two guys together have 4.
I know. I'm just saying.
They together have almost as many as the Cowboys franchise has by itself. So,
well, that's true. But I feel that if Jimmy Johnson had not left, they would have won 4 in a row.
If what's the saying? If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah. How many Super Bowls does your team have?
That's a white person thing right there, isn't it?
It is.
That's a major. I felt really white.
How many Super Bowls does your team have?
They went to 4 in a row and lost all 4 in a row.
How many do they have though?
They have none.
Yes.
And guess what? I don't give a fig Newton. A flying fig Newton.
As a Cowboys fan, I'm just mad that the Pittsburgh Steelers have 6.
Well, I mean,
so, that's upsetting.
That's like a first world problem right there. Like
it is.
We have 5 championships, but somebody has 6.
Yes, but it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Like I have like 50, or I have $49 million, but my best friend has 50.
Right.
What the hell, man?
Right.
Just stop. Just
so no, I don't think it has any bearing on him getting into the Hall of Fame. Even if he comes out now and says, sure, he had it done, I don't think it's going to make a difference in how people look at him, because quite frankly, he is a great quarterback.
Speaking of that, did you
and you can't take that away from him.
No, speaking of the Buffalo Bills, did you see that they're going to do a 30 for 30 on the 4 Super Bowl teams?
Yes.
That's going to be real good.
That'll be real good.
Also, did you see that? I believe FX is doing like a 10-episode miniseries on the trial of O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
And Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to play O.J. Simpson, which is hilarious.
So instead of screaming...
Also, John Travolta's in the show. And
instead of screaming, show me money...
The one guy from Friends is on the show. David Schwimmer's on the show.
Okay. Instead of screaming, show me the money, he can scream, get me out of jail.
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to play Khloe Kardashian's dad.
Nice. That's awesome.
I love to point that out all the time. We all know that Khloe Kardashian's father was O.J. Simpson. Come on now. You know, that conspiracy theory is starting to gain some steam in my book. Nothing will ever beat Stevie Ain't Blind, but I'll tell you what. Khloe Kardashian and O.J. Simpson, that rumor, that conspiracy theory, man.
I got nothing for you, bro.
I need to get a book of conspiracy theories because they're so I'll tell you what. Speaking of conspiracy theories, before we head to commercial break, I had a guy come into work last night. Now I'm sure it's probably for specific purposes, but it was hilarious. Guy gives me, I say, sir, can I please have your credit card that you're going to pay for the hotel room with? He pulls out a chunk of tinfoil and unwraps his credit card in a pile of tinfoil.
Yeah, it's so people can't read the card number.
Yeah, but it seemed to me like people had like the slots, like the cards in their wallet. I've never in my 5 years of working at a hotel, I've seen a ton of credit cards and debit cards, and I've never seen someone
that's interesting
pull out a perfectly wrapped up card in tinfoil.
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That's weird.
That guy must think that Khloe Kardashian's father is O.J. Simpson or something.
Maybe that's weird.
Or that Stevie Ain't Blind because.
So I hope that answers your questions, people.
Yeah, me too. Get a hold of us. We'll answer your questions.
Now, before we go to commercial, Ryan,
certainly,
I have something that I'd like to discuss.
Feel free. The floor is yours.
I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted earlier this week. I pulled up behind the car on Ridge Road, and it had Elway number 7, and then the Broncos horse head, and then Manning number 18 underneath it. And
I'm guessing that guy probably actually wasn't a Broncos fan when Elway was his quarterback.
Maybe not. Maybe he was though.
Was it an older car?
It was an older Cadillac.
Then probably. So never mind. Probably yeah.
But on Twitter I put one of these quarterbacks has the best stats in regular season. Another one actually has one. But then on Instagram when I posted it, I put, with time running out on his career, will Manning win that elusive ring, Broncos fans? And I put, I don't think so. And then some other people put, no, I don't think so either. And then someone said, keep doubting. So I asked them, in your opinion, what have they done to improve? And do you think Manning's neck will hold up? I want to know your opinion for a sports podcast. And his opinion was this. The coach was the problem. Coach Fox was a one-dimensional playmaker. He says that's why the Broncos have not been able to win underneath Peyton Manning. What do you think about that? I
think as the day is long, Peyton Manning just cannot produce in the playoffs. That's just he just when it comes to games, pressure games, he just can't do it.
Historically, that bears out really well.
Yeah. And they put good even when you have great teams around Peyton Manning. I think almost if anything, the fact Peyton Manning is the fact that Peyton Manning has not been successful because they put so much into putting weapons around him and building a team around Peyton Manning that when it comes to games where you need a strong running game,
right?
And Peyton might throw for 250. You only need to throw for 250 yards,
right?
He'll go out and throw the ball 57 times and they lose by 25,
exactly,
or something like that. I feel like it's a blessing and a curse with him. He just can't win the big game, as mentioned, as stats have shown. And, the teams don't get much better than the Broncos. If his neck was better, I mean, if he'd got this team when he was healthy, like completely healthy before,
they'd be unstoppable.
Because the teams he has now are better than the Colts were. But I think firing John Fox was a panic move.
Well, I agree.
Because some heads have to roll somewhere.
Right.
Elway's not going to fire the GM. Elway's not going to fire himself. And they're not going to get rid of Peyton Manning because if Peyton Manning can throw a football forward, Peyton Manning's going to be your quarterback.
Exactly.
And like I said, I think it's a blessing and a curse. I mean, the defense could, if the defense was better, maybe.
Right.
But I don't think it's the team's fault. I think it all falls on Peyton Manning because if you're going to make Peyton Manning the guy, he's got to be the guy.
Right. And I think we saw it play out last season. As the season went on, Peyton's neck got more and more worn out, and he didn't have any zip on the ball. When the weather was cold, his balls tended to float. He had no zip on it. He couldn't put it where he wanted. There was very obviously something wrong with him. I know that they then went on to say that he had tore his thigh muscle, so now that's healed. We'll see how he plays. But personally, I think it was more than that. I don't think the neck is going to hold up. I think when it gets cold, he can't grip the football like he used to. And I think we're going to see even more of the same that we've seen the last couple of years.
Speaking of thigh injuries, did you see that bruise? The picture J.J. Watt posted?
That bruise was huge.
That was all on a chop block from Fred Jackson.
That's crazy.
Fred Jackson took a shoulder pad into the thigh, and best part is that was the game where J.J. Watt returned a touchdown, interception return or fumble for a touchdown. That was amazing. So, with that being said, this is our last segment of the podcast. So we're going to shoot it to commercial when we come back. We're going to close this bad boy up and send Perez on his merry way.
Yeah, I got to go.
We'll be right back.
Do you enjoy listening to Better Live Than Dead, but you're not always by your laptop to hear it on GearNetwork.com? Not to worry, we've got you covered. Better Live Than Dead and all other Gear Network podcasts can now be heard on iHeartRadio, iTunes, in the Zune Marketplace, on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, and on TuneIn Radio. So make sure you get one of the aforementioned apps to stay up to date with the latest Gear Network podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Perez here, telling you about FanDuel's one-day fantasy baseball leagues. Every day you pick the player you want, you can pick a whole team, and play for real money against other users. FanDuel has over 20,000 one-day leagues, so joining in is never an issue. Also, there's no daily commitment, so you play whenever you want. The best part? Over $2 million in prizes every single day. And if you sign up through GearNetwork.com/FanDuel, you help support the network and keep this podcast free.
You're listening to Better Live Than Dead on the Gear Radio Network. Now, here's Perez and Ryan.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Welcome back. Laughing out of the commercial, into the commercial break, out of the commercial break.
Yes.
I was just talking about my leg being tight. It doesn't feel good. The tendon, man. The tendon that goes from my hip to my knee is really tight, which causes my hip to snap. My hip makes a popping noise. I could probably actually do it on the podcast right now if you want to hear it.
It's all good,
I want to do it into the microphone, see if the microphone will pick it up.
It's all good.
Do you dare me to?
So go ahead, man.
I'm going to do it.
If you think you can do it, go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Wolf's going to try to... That's your hip?
That's my hip, dog.
Those 3 pops right there were your hip.
That was my hip. I could do that all day long, too.
You may want to go see a doctor about that.
I did, and they told me there's nothing they could do except physical therapy because they could surgically fix it up, but if I get it surgically fixed, it'll probably speed up needing a hip replacement. That's all just that. All
you know what else will speed up needing a hip replacement? Doing what you just did a bunch of times.
That noise was the tendon snapping over my bone. There was like it's getting caught on a bone, and it's just... I really hope the microphone picked that up because those are some nasty ones.
For a second, I thought that was just the chair that you were standing on.
That was my hip, yeah.
That's crazy,
now
bro.
you understand why I was telling you why my leg hurt so bad today.
Yes, I get it now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
I retract me laughing at you and thinking you were a baby for a second.
I love doing that. I'll tell people,
So-
like, guys, my leg really hurts, and they're like, stop being a bitch. Then I'll be like, hey, let me see your hand real quick, and I put their hand on my ass cheek, and then they'll be like, because that's the first part. Like, just
So I get it now. This is just a trick you do to get guys' hands on your ass cheek.
I do it to women. A lot.
Okay.
Like, hey, let me see your hand real quick, and they'll put their hand there, and I just start popping it. They're like, oh my god, that's so gross. And I'm like, well, you wanted me to show you, so.
I'm going to give you some advice. Some life advice right now. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The next time you have a girl who is, how should I say
The last time,
this?
by the way, the last time I did this to somebody, it was probably, I don't know, like high school.
Okay, but the next time you have a girl in your bed giving you some type of orally based attention,
Just do that?
don't do that.
I won't do that, no.
Because that may gross her out to the point where she like spews on you. Exactly.
Pukes everywhere. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, if
That
you're
would
into
be disgusting.
if you're into that, I mean, you know.
I'm not.
I'm not into vomiting chicks, but whatever.
No, but
Well, though I have to
So,
stretch and roll,
yeah.
like I have a foam roller and a rope that stretches my leg out. And
okay.
the problem I've had lately is because it's getting weird again.
Right.
So like I'm walking funny, so my knee hurts, like the back, like right where my hamstring attaches to my knee. It's killing me. My Achilles tendon has been really tight. It's just terrible. Don't get old. It's a trick. It's a trick. I'm certain.
How old are you?
23.
Yeah, dude, you're young, bro.
I tell you what, it's a tarp. It's a tarp, man.
It's going to be worse for you when you
It's
get
a
older.
trap. Do you like Chris Pratt? Have you seen the video? He did a cover shoot with GQ, and he actually was giving acting advice while doing shots of Fireball.
No.
Dude, it was...
I'll have to look that up. That sounds hilarious.
I have like 7 videos I have to show you now.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're just going to have like a video podcast one of these days where we'll just have like myself and you on the computer with our video screens, and then we'll just have a YouTube video where we'll just sit there and watch YouTube videos while people listen to us talk about it.
That'll be fun. We should do that. If you want to see a funny video, and I don't know if John still has it, but ask John if he still has the footage of me watching Brazilian fart porn for the first time. Because it was recorded.
I'm sure once John hears this podcast, whether
Yes.
it's when he's setting it up to get on Spreaker or when he's listening to it after it's up, maybe at work. Maybe he'll
Right.
hear this at work.
And start
And we'll get
laughing.
him to laugh at work.
Yeah.
But I think that would be hilarious to watch.
Oh, it was hilarious to watch. I laughed at watching the footage myself. And it was me in the footage.
It was you laughing at fart porn.
Right.
Laughing at fart porn.
But, yeah, see if he still got that footage.
Yeah, John, find that for us. I want to say thank you to John and Dawn,
Thank you.
the Gear Network, to allowing us to ramble on about whatever we want to talk about every single week here.
High salt and pepper.
Hello. I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Perez, for being here today.
Ryan, Mr. Wolf, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the donuts. Thanks for being here. Thanks.
Thanks to Rich Donut Cafe.
Yeah, thanks to your body as well for cooperating a little more this week.
Yeah, I was pretty sick last week.
Not as much, but
I'm still kind of sick, but not as bad.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're not like, you know, when the best way to explain it, I guess. You remember in Willy Wonka when Violet turned violet?
Yes.
That was like without like blowing up like a balloon.
Right.
Like you turning colors. That was how the last segment last week went in the podcast.
Yeah, I was definitely ready to pass out.
And I didn't think about that until like now, because I could have just told you that before.
Right.
But I just thought about that now.
It's all good, man.
I'm glad you're better though.
Thank you. I'm getting there. Not 100% yet, but I'm getting
Well,
there.
next time it happens, hopefully we'll have this new podcast stuff set up where we can you could be laying in bed and just like turn on your laptop or your tablet or something. We'll get you on Skype, and then like I don't know if you snore or not, but like have it to the podcast.
Well,
You'll just start snoring, and I'll be like,
Perez.
I think we're gonna take a commercial break right
Right.
here. Yeah, mid sentence. Just we're gonna take a commercial break.
Exactly.
One of those things. Yeah. But
Hey, when you see your stylist tomorrow,
Christopher Pogue of
Yeah, just-
Dapper's Not Dead. Actually,
hook me up with his information because, like I said, I'm seriously consider growing my hair back.
I think you should, at least for a little while. I want to get the name.
Well, you know what made me think about it.
What's that?
Was we recently had a family get together for 2 reasons. One of my family members unfortunately passed away.
Sorry about that.
And then very close to that, 2 of my cousins had their birthdays at the same time, so we had a family get together for that. One of my cousins said the reason she thought I had started shaving my head was because I was going bald. And that's not even close to the truth. I started shaving my head because I started shaving my head. There's actually a story behind that too. But So I'm not going bald. And now that it's been like 2.5 weeks, I've been lazy. I haven't shaved my head. I'm thinking about just letting it grow back.
That's
out.
the one thing I'll tell you what. I'll be completely serious here. When you have your head shaved or when you're growing hair, it's not a bad. Either way, it's not a bad look. I mean, you're lucky in that case,
right?
Because you still have hair growing in. Where you've got a few gray hairs, but it's not like you don't shave your head because your whole head's gray or you have missing hair spots. You just do it because you want to do it.
Yes. So, but I do have a national conference coming up for my job. So I don't know if I want to go to the national conference with my hair at that in-between stages,
True.
So I may shave it off until after that, and then start growing it back.
Dapper's Not Dead Barber Social Club. It's D&D at D&D_BSC on Instagram or at Pogues Not Dead. It's POGUES Not Dead. Or dndbsc.com. That's where I go. That's where I'm going to send.
Maybe I'll go over there
Perez.
this week and get my sides and back taken cleaned up and see what I think it looks like, see how I want to do it.
And if not, you just have him shave the whole thing off.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
It's a win-win situation.
right.
Plus, he's good. Like I say, he's real good people.
Cool.
So, hi, Chris. Get you more people.
Hey, what's up, dude? I may be coming to see you this week.
And when he gets a shop open, maybe we could start actually promoting him.
That's right.
That's what I'm hoping for. And maybe we could do some shows at his
At the shop.
Barber Social Club. Because it's turned from just being a barber to kind of like being a place to hang out and chill
Right.
and have a good time. So I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you tuning into the podcast.
We appreciate it.
South Korea, Japan, China, Russia, Slovakia, I don't know.
I'd like to say what's up to my fellow distinguished ruffians. As we were going on air, I showed you that picture of one of the guys listening to last week's episode. We appreciate that.
We appreciate all the support we can get.
Exactly.
And we went long today, but who cares?
It happens.
Well, it's almost an hour and 45 minutes of the podcast. But guess what? Ask me how much I care, because I don't care at all. Have a lot of fun.
Neither.
Having so much fun today.
That's right. I got to go, bro.
Yeah, with that being said, it's time to wrap this bad boy up.
High salt and pepper.
You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's right.
We are better live than dead.
You're not.
We'll see you same time, same place next week, my friends. Have a good week.
Adios.
Have a safe Memorial Day weekend. We will see you. And thank you, first off, before we go, thanks to every single one of you serving or have served for everything you've done.
We appreciate that.
We certainly appreciate
I truly
you.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. Have a good one, my friends.
Bye-bye.